Hi and welcome back to FindersBeepers History Seekers on the look back at the latest explore. Now, wow, this one. Right, so if you watched last week's recap, you'll have seen a little fly flying around. It's the same day, it's the same bloody fly, and it's doing my head in, and at some point I'm going to burn this place down. But people loved this explore, and so did I. Oh, look in here. This is good, isn't it? Look at the tiles round there. And those windows would have been amazing. Look at this. With the doorway, the coat of arms above it, and then this double set of stairs up to your door. It already looks amazing. It looks amazing. Oh my Lord. Oh my goodness me. Look at this. Oh my goodness. I'm not gonna lie, it has been a bit of a highlight of the year. I think it was because it was quite mild. It was like a nice warm day in the middle of December. It was like 18, 19 degrees, which was nice compared with the UK where it was like 1-2 degrees, if that. I found it really relaxing, chilling. It was just nice, but almost too chilling, too relaxing, too quiet. I think that's the one thing I would say about that place. It was very, very quiet. At times the birds just stopped singing altogether, and there was parts of it where there was loads of noise from the birds and then it would just stop. And that was a bit weird, a little bit weird. And I think that's what the place gave, a bit of an odd vibe, but it was almost like pulling you in to be relaxed, just to go bang and like something terrible happen. And a lot of you felt like something had. Oh, and look at the top. Look up there. I wonder if he was Illuminati or Masonic or something like that. That same pissed off boy is now sat with his mother's head. He's murdered her. He's murdered her for making him do all that work. He looks so angry though. What is he, like, honestly though, what is he putting in her mouth? And there's all the, like, what do you call that equipment now? Is it like set squares? Masons. I wonder if that's anything to do with the Masons there. There's a skeleton down there. See in that corner? There's a rib cage. And you know what? I don't know if it looks human. It could be like a dog or something. I'll try and zoom in on it. Look. It's probably just a dog. But it sort of does look like half of a human one. Now, there was very, very mixed reactions of what this place was for, but there was a select few of you that thought something terrible happened there. Stuff to do with child sacrifice. I've got to be careful what I say. I don't want to get demonetized, but unaliving people and on all sorts of weird things. And they were saying that's why the corridors were like they were, so they could be whipped off down in a certain place. There wasn't really any bedrooms, which, you know what, thinking about it, there wasn't. There was those weird upstairs rooms, but for the size of the place, there wasn't really many rooms in there for bedrooms, which is odd. But moving away from the sinister side of what people think, a lot of people definitely agreed with me on the side of the Masonic stuff. And I had a good conversation with a friend of the channel. I'm not saying who it is, because I don't think that's fair, but a friend of the channel who is a Mason. And he said 100% there is multiple Masonic signs and symbolism within that building. Stuff that would make him walk in there and automatically recognise that whoever it was that was living there was a Mason. However, he also said there is a funny edge to it. symbols and signs and things that he's never seen before, and he was really interested in it. And he said it could have been more of like a Masonic cult, some sort of cult side of things to it, or it could have been like almost a commune. And I'd said, like, at the time it felt like a commune. So I don't know. We won't know. You go online and there is stuff online about it. And I'll try and put a couple of bits in about the place. But it only takes the history back a certain amount of time, not to when the place was built, which is quite interesting because it leaves that shroud of mystery. A lot of people have said there was things like weddings there in the sort of 70s, 80s and 90s, and like a gathering place, which makes sense. And if that had been the original purpose for it, then fair enough. But I don't think it was. I genuinely don't think that place was, I don't know, like a leisure place, somewhere you'd go and relax back in the 1800s. I don't think it was. It's got that work element to it, of the wine and things like that. And I think a lot of that was to make them self-sufficient. And so they've got an income. But a lot of cults have incomes. A lot of cults have self-sufficient living where they're growing stuff and then selling stuff and making money that way. They've got to live somehow. They're not in a cult in the day and then go and work, a cult at night and go and work in the office down at B&Q. Do B&Q have offices? You know what I mean though. So yeah, I think it sort of almost does fall in line with a sect, a cult, whatever you want to call it, just doesn't seem quite right. Those two big buildings, this is what makes me think it's a bit odd. The first building, the biggest building, was built in the 1860s with the main house. Then 10 years later, they thought, you know what, that big fucking building we've got over there for whatever we're doing in it, meetings, isn't big enough, we need another one. And they've built another one. And also, that's the weird thing, because a lot of people have said, is it a church? Is it a monastery? Is it something to do with that side of things? Why would they have that little chapel? That doesn't make sense. If it was a church, they'd have it as a big feck-off church, because the big building was built at the same time as the chapel and the house. So why? Why would they have that there as well? It doesn't make sense. And if there was... None of it makes sense, because if it was a cult, where the fecking hell were they all sleeping? What were they doing? I don't get it. I honestly, it has baffled me, and I've thought about it a lot. And there's a lot of it's classed locally as a local monument, but they don't say why. They don't say in any of the documentation to do with it why it's a local monument. What is the reason behind it? Very weird, but I love it. So that brings me to the drone footage. So people loved the drone footage, and you know what? I enjoyed doing it. I had a bit of a nightmare because batteries were running out. I'd had a long day already. Batteries were starting to go on things, and I don't know. I just think that was my last thing to do of the day, get some drone footage, and the light was going, so I was rushing to get it done, and then I fucked up. I massively fucked up. So the drone, I'd got a couple of good shots. I was really pleased with one, well, a couple of them. One when I'd flown through the gates and down the drive and then almost hit a tree. And I thought, right, I'll stop and I'll cut that to something else. And it seems like it was meant to happen, but it sort of wasn't. And then another one where I'd flown and I got exactly the right line, because it's hard, you know. When you're flying a drone, you're looking at it on your phone and looking up, looking like that all the time, to get the line exactly right. And there was two big trees, and then all the trees, like down the drive, there was trees round it, then the houses, and then two big trees. And I'd managed to get it bang up the middle and finish off going through the trees. And I was so pleased with myself for that. It worked out so well. And the thing is with me, I have got a bit of an arty eye. I do like, that's not like a gammy eye. It's like, I see the shot I want. And in my head, I'll have to try and get that. And if I don't get it, I'll try over and over and over and over again. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Like, for example, the shot where it drops down, the drone drops down, and then I go inside. That's harder than you think to get it just right, because if it's slightly off, you'll hit the door, or it won't go directly to the back. It'll go slightly off to a corner. I did things like that over and over again, and the battery was starting to go. And there was one more shot I wanted, which was going along the floor and coming up to the house so close that I went up the level of the roof like that. In my head, I got it perfect. So perfect. But what I didn't realise was the grey line, there was like a grey line of like a flat roof that went up to a pitched roof. And I thought I was going to go just over that and then up the pitched roof. What I didn't realise was there was a grey line of bricks, but then more bricks above, and then the top of the flat roof. So instead of going up and above that, I just slammed straight into the wall, and the drone just bounced off. One of the, like, 'cause it has arm extension things for the rotors, and you sort of fold them away when they don't. I don't know what this is, but you fold them away when they don't. And one of those came in, so it was spinning round like crazy, and it hit the floor with some right force. Then all the rotors got stuck round a load of plants, so it was like cutting the grass. And when I got to it, the top of the plastic of the drone was off, like flipped up. I clicked it back into place, and it seems, fingers crossed, like it's fine. It takes some right hammer, but bearing in mind I've only had this a couple of months, you know what I'm like with drones, but it's because I try and push it. I don't just do the drone footage where it's 16 miles away from what I want to film and like just going past like at one angle. I try and get something that's perfect, that looks beautiful, and I'm getting there, but I just hope the drone manages to get there with me. Next up, we've got the big circular building that I had no idea what it was, and now I know. I'll show you now just to remind you of what it looked like, and then I'll show you some pictures. So we've got steps that go up all the way up there. We've got some sort of little thing there to put something in. It's painted, it's stripy all the way round. Then it sort of goes in there as well to that window. There's big hooks, not hooks, like things all the way around the top. Right, I'm going up there. So as you can see, big round building. It did have another floor to it inside, because a lot of people were like, oh, could it have been, what are they saying now? There's a lot of people with a lot of different ideas, and some of them were saying, oh, it wouldn't have had a floor on it. Some were saying it would, but it definitely would. And I found out exactly what it was now. Somebody in the comments put it in. As soon as I saw the picture of it, I knew it was right. It was a windmill. It's just because it doesn't look like our windmills in the UK. It looks more like a mini fort or lookout tower. It doesn't look like a windmill, but it definitely was. The Portuguese windmills look exactly the same as this. And the reason it didn't have any sort of fitting is because the fitting would have been up on the roof. And I'm guessing that's what all the rings were for and stuff to do with the windmill itself. So really, really, really interesting. Really good to see, because it's a different style to what I would have seen in the UK. So it's something else I've learned that I wouldn't have known. I can see his face. It's like the Green Man. In fact, it reminds me, what was he called now? That little thing that lived on the beach and gave you wishes. And there was a TV programme about him, and it was called like the Salmon or Siaman or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, he lived on a beach and gave out wishes on kids' TV in the 80s. I can't remember what it was. Please let me know if you know, because that is something that is going to bug me a lot, because I quite liked it. Now, up on the ceiling in one of the rooms, I asked you guys what it was that it was reminding me of. There's a little face, and that ceiling was beautiful, to be fair. It was absolutely wonderful. And there was a face on it, and it reminded me of something. I was saying, it's something magical, where this little weird thing lives on a beach and then some children come down. And it was a program called 5 Children and It.
We just want to know who you are.
You don't know? Well, I knew the world had changed, but do you mean to tell me seriously that you don't know a Samayad when you see one?
And I think, I'm sure it's called the Samayad. You have told me. I ain't finding it again, but it's called the Samayad or Samayan or something like that. And it gave them wishes, and it was such a good program. And I think a lot of people have forgotten it existed, which I had until I saw that. And I love that, because I love that sort of nostalgia of looking back and going, you know what, I actually loved that program. There were certain programs on TV that I used to rush home for. Well, not really rush home for, but I stopped what I was doing. Now, I might have been playing with He-Man figures, or I might have been out in the garden or whatever, and I would stop what I was doing. And you don't get that anymore. They don't have TV where it's on for like 2 hours after school or something. It's just on all the time on certain channels now. And I don't think it's as good, because I think the fact that we had a set time, like Saturday mornings, on like Going Live and things like that, where you'd watch certain programs that were on certain days of the week, and you'd look forward to it. Like, I'd look forward to things like Biker Grove.
He can't see, can he? Call an ambulance, Duncan. He can't see, man!
And Nightmare.
Walk forward.
Where am I? You're in a smallish room with a door in the wall in front of you and a door in the wall to your right.
And all sorts of different Raggy Dolls.
You'd think she'd know by now. I do not know how anyone can be so, how you say, brain scattered.
Things like that. All sorts of different programs that were on that I loved. He-Man, Thundercats. There's millions I could list. But you knew when they were on, and you'd look forward to that day. Oh, it's Wednesday. Oh, Thundercats is on. I mean, it's really good. And these days, you just go on YouTube and watch it, or you just go on Cartoon Network and watch something, and it's just not the same, is it? It's just not the same. And I remember loving that program, so I think a lot of you guys did as well. Big beams on there. These are just like farm buildings, what I would expect. Like a ranch. Like I was saying before, that's what they make me think of, a ranch. And it makes me think of like a big square area where you'd have all your farming stuff. That makes sense. That's normal. It's those two weird buildings I don't get. Now, one of the other things I asked you was, what was the name of a ranch if it was in like Spain or Portugal or somewhere like that? And it's Hacienda. It just makes me think of Manchester. I'm sure there was a club in Manchester, La Hacienda, famous one. But that's what it makes me think of. But yeah, you're right. And it has got, people have said it got things like, what's he called? The drug baron over in wherever he's from, like cartel cartel vibes. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like growing dodgy drugs all round and like living in there and then having shootouts and stuff like that. That's what it makes me think of as well. That sort of feeling. Or maybe the mafia. Because with all the painting and stuff like that inside, it's got a bit of an Italian vibe to it as well. So you could like imagine the mafia in there. I don't know whether it's just me over-romanticising things and thinking of like big films happening, but it sort of fits. It's not just some grotty abandoned house in, I don't know, Rochdale, where there's loads of really good stuff in there, but there's no real story to it. This place, you literally could base a film around it. It is just so beautiful, but got a bit of an edge to it. I don't know, it's just my imagination, I think. I don't know if you guys work the same as me, but that's how my brain works. I can write a story in my head about what happened there. Like I said, if you're in a 2-bedroom semi-detached in Rochdale, literally the story you're writing is going to be someone doing a 9-to-5 job and then like having some memories from the war or something. This place, all sorts springs to mind. So yeah, I do love the houses, but these things, I just think they've got a different edge to them, a different side to them, and that's why I like doing both bits. I like doing both sides of the explores. Please, please, please hit the subscribe button and the like button, purely because I want to get this channel to 100,000 subscribers by the 1st of November next year, because I've promised everybody's been going on about this. If we hit 100,000 before then, I will go to Leicester Square in London in a dress, full makeup, and I will do a live for 2 hours from the middle of London. So please, let's hit this 100,000. Tell your brother, your mother, your cousin, your friend down the street, just get them to subscribe and we'll get up to that 100,000. One last thing, there's so many more things, to be fair, that I could talk about this place. There's like the pool and obviously how that was added on later on. There is a lot of a later edition buildings. There's all sorts, there's the windmill and the wells and things like that. Loads and loads of stuff's been brought up about loads and loads of different things, and the list goes on and on. But one thing that did pop up, and it wasn't really to do with the Explorer, it was to do with something I said. So at the beginning of the video, which I generally do at the end, is I asked people to subscribe, and I think people think it costs money to subscribe. It literally, all it is you either have to set up a YouTube account, which you've got one already. If you've got one already, you don't have to because it's done. Press subscribe. That is it. That's all I'm asking for. Like literally all I'm asking for. I really want to hit this 100,000 by the 1st of November next year. We're about, I think, 44,000 subscribers away, which is a lot. I know that we'd have to do a lot more than we've ever done to get to that number. But I know you can do it. Like literally, I think 50% of the people that watch the videos are not subscribed. 50%. So that means, I don't know, like, let me have a look. I'll have a look at the stats for this month. So this month, on views, in the last 28 days, I've had 312,000 views. Now, don't get me wrong, some of those were with the same people. Returning viewers, unique viewers, 60,000. 59,500 viewers on the channel this month. They're unique, different people. 30,000 of those are not subscribed. That is madness. Like, people come back week in, week out, and they're not subscribed. And it's free. And it helps me. It massively helps me. You still get to watch the videos. You don't get anything extra or anything less, but it helps me out massively. You'll get more notifications and stuff like that. You'll see when my videos are coming out and you'll not miss anything. But 30,000, just like that. All the people that are watching anyway, they're watching the videos anyway, one click, and I go from 56,000 to 86,000. That's a lot closer. One click. Please, please help me out. Please, please. If you do one thing for Christmas for me, do this. Anyway, love you all. I don't know when I'm putting this video out, so if it's not Christmas yet, have an amazing Christmas. If it has been Christmas, I hope you've had an amazing Christmas, and I hope you have a good New Year. Unless it's after New Year, then I hope you've had a good New Year. Anyway, love you all. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.